Okay, so in the three-ish or so years since the last time we talked to you, lots changed. So you mentioned the 50 first deal. You've grown, well, the acquisition and property acquisition business quite a bit.
Yeah.
What does that look like now? Maybe we'll just touch briefly on real estate, since I think this is a real estate podcast. What's the world look like there for your daily activities in real estate?
Yeah, my daily activities is like putting out fires. Most of what I do is like putting out fires, and a lot of that's just brainstorming. So like I literally get on a call with like whoever, Walker, who's my CEO, and we'll just talk through how are we going to do this one strategy for this thing. Or I get on a call with the property manager and it's like, how are we going to do this thing? It's very high level, big picture strategy. That's most of what my day is. And then ultimately I'm still the guy driving the raising of capital, right? So like I spend a decent amount of time thinking and planning podcast, YouTube, social media, all that stuff. But I got a good team. I mean, I built Open Door Capital from the top down. We might have talked about that on the last time. But like when I say top down, it means I didn't come in doing all the work myself and then slowly bring in people to like replace my time, which is what most people do when you start a company. I was just like, day one, I need a CEO. And like I just put somebody in there and I'm like, you build the company. It's almost like I'm a board of directors sort of a spot. I love that spot because I get to be the visionary. I get to get people excited and getting pumped up and solve big problems. But I don't have to really get in the day-to-day grind. And I love that. Ultimately, that's what worked, right? Because throwing back to what we talked about a minute ago, like you get the results of what you repeatedly do, right? If you do the work, you get the results. The problem is I'm like super like visionary and ADHD, maybe Megan thinks I'm ADHD, but like I can't like do the work very well. I just want to bounce around and do everything else. And so what I realized, like the ultimate hack here is just to hire people who are not that way, and then they just do the work. And like as soon as I did that, I did it at Bigger Pockets, I did it at Open Door Capital, I've done it at First Deal, I've done it at Better Life, and I've done it at the 50s. Hire other people and then like make them do the work. And if they don't do the work, they don't get paid. And that's like the best motivation. So it's working.
I know you've talked about this a million times and you're probably tired of talking about it, but the whole thing about being a visionary is you have ideas, you have strategies, you have people to execute on what the plan is. But you were stuck in an integrator role for quite a while, right? Like you were acting as basically a not really a COO, but you were doing a lot of the arms and legs work within Bigger Pockets for quite a while. How do you function like that for a long period of time and not just like want to blow your brains out?
Yeah, good question. I actually don't think I was much of a visionary in the beginning. I mean, maybe like I obviously led. Like I came to Bigger Pockets after I already owned 30 rental units and already had kind of a baseline financial freedom. So obviously I led my family there, but I am not a great entrepreneur. Like when I get up in the morning, I'm not great at just like, here's my list of 12 things. I'm gonna go knock them out and I'm just gonna be self-motivated. I'm gonna go to the gym and I'm gonna do, I just like will scroll on my phone, Instagram reels all day long if given the opportunity. And so I actually work really well as when I was the kind of integrator at Bigger Pockets. I was just like the get stuff done guy. So Josh Dorkin would be like, you know what we need to do? We need to write guest blog posts on other people's websites that then link back to Bigger Pockets, and that will help us grow in the SEO rankings. I'm like, say no more. And I wrote 200 blog posts over the course of like a year and a half, like hundreds of them. Yeah, point me in a direction, and I just like ran. So I was an integrator, and I was decent at doing that. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was decent at just like going a direction, marching it. I think I became, and I've never thought this through, so I'm going to stumble across these words here, but I think I became a visionary over time after getting into rooms where there were a lot of visionaries. So for example, like the GoBundance group, which I'm still a part of today, a guy named David Osborne, who I really look up to a lot. He's actually going to be one of our keynote speakers at the REI Summit coming up.
He's amazing.
June.
Oh, there's that plug you're looking for, Megan.
There it is right there. REI Summit is going to be awesome. But David Osborne's one of the guys, like I once heard him say on stage, he was going to go raise $100 million. And I was like, that's so ridiculous. Like a person can't raise $100 million. I can't raise $1 million. Like he's going to go raise $100 million. Like how absurd. And then a year later, I raised $120 million in 8 weeks. Guaranteed I would not have been able to do that had I not been in that room with David Osborne. So I started surrounding myself with visionaries who just had these like stupid visions. Like I'm gonna go raise $100 million. Okay. He did it. And then I did it. So I think I became a visionary. So it never tormented me until I became the visionary. And then I was stuck in that integrator role of like show up, fill out your TPS report, yeah, Monday morning staff meeting and Friday Hawaiian shirt day. And that's when I was like, oh, I got to get out of this. And
by the way, I do want to point out Ted and I both kind of
I did notice
Hawaiian shirt themed things.
Very loud.
That's as Hawaiian shirt as it gets in Nebraska.
Yeah, this is Nebraska.
I was going to say, are either of those technically Hawaiian shirts? I don't know. They're colorful. They're
But that has become your secret sauce. Like, that is what Brandon is so good at, and also probably his biggest downside too. Like, he can be like, oh, we're gonna have 5,000 people in first deal and we want 75% of them to buy a house. And I'm like, bro, I think that might be impossible. But like, he's like, doesn't matter. That's the vision. We're going for it. And then it's like, okay, then it's my job to go, how does that happen? And then build it backwards. And the same with your open door capital, right? Like 13,000 units would seem impossible, but then you made it possible.
Yeah, honestly, the vision for Open Door Capital was originally 1,000 units. Like, even then, I thought that was an impossible goal. Like, how could we have 1,000 rental units? And then it's like, we just blew past it because there's like this like magic that happens. It's like magic, right? And I use that word deliberately, magic, because there's a quote from David Blaine, who's a famous magician, and he says something along the lines of like, magic is real, but magic is just doing the same trick 1,000 times until it looks flawless, right? It's something like that. I'm probably butchering his quote, but the idea being like, you just do the work. Like I keep coming back to, do the work, you get the results. And so we did the work. We had a vision. We got an organizational structure. We use EOS. In other words, that aligns our vision down to actionable steps. And then we met every single week and we measured ourselves to certain KPIs. It's like, and you just hire a bunch of people within that framework, and shocking, it works. Just like you eat 1,800 calories a day and you go run 5 miles a day and you go to the gym 5 times a week, shocking, you lose the weight. So we just did that at Open Door Capital, but it begins with vision. If you don't have a good vision, it's really hard to line up goals then, because like you don't know where you're going and nobody else knows where you're going. And it's really hard to convince somebody to come along with you when you don't know where you're going. It's like, hey, we're going to go build a business that is going to do something somehow. I'm not sure how, and it probably won't work. Sorry.
For every really good visionary, there's 10 frustrated integrators following him around being like, how are we going to do this, right?
Yeah.
Hey guys, this is Ted with the Kash Dash Show. Please like and subscribe to our podcast. I got to get back to this Rio group. Everybody say hi.